I thought I would perform a bit of a science experiment on my own and put it on film. In this video, I will discuss the different types of plastic welded joints used in inflatables, and more interestingly, show how they are made. This was an on-the-fly thing, and surprised me by how well it worked out, given the 20 minutes of time I put into it. To start is the most common and simplest to manufacture, the pinch seam. Shown in the video is the front leg on an inflatable whirled griffin. It has numerous pinch welded seams. This seam is stereotypical of most commercial pool toys. This is so because it does not require the worker to have access to the interior of the toy. The seam is created by overlapping the two pieces of vinyl and then welding them together at the edge. This action of pinching the vinyl together is where the seam got its name. In the video, you will see me using wax paper as an anti-stick surface, a cork mat as an insulator to protect my tabletop, aluminum foil to reflect and draw heat away from the regions I don't wish to melt, and finally, some tape to hold it all together. Oh, and of course, scraps of vinyl and a clothes iron. First laying down is the cork to protect the tabletop. Next, I layer wax paper to prevent the hot vinyl from sticking. On top of that are two pieces of aluminum foil to draw heat away from everywhere but the gap where I will create my seam. Then is the vinyl that I intend to weld, and to finish that off is a mirror image of the foil and wax paper layers. Once the vinyl is aligned and the foil and wax paper layers set atop, I can begin applying heat using an ordinary clothes iron. Pinch seams are recognizable by the frill that remains after welding the two pieces together. These fringes are seen on most pool toys and mylar balloons. From this same operation comes the inverted pinch seam, which means the frill faces the interior of the inflatable. This is done where comfort of the toy is desired, such as the back of the head of the inflatable whirled griffin, which rubs up against its rider. The frill of a regular pinch seam can be sharp. As this is an experiment, my first pinch seam failed with little effort. I had applied the heat for too short a time. On my second attempt, I applied the heat for longer, and the seam came out much better. I held the iron on long enough to see the vinyl was starting to spread. I applied one of the first post processes I will be showing, trimming. Most toys have their seam frill trimmed to a uniform size for a less noticeable, more consistent look. Trimming does not affect the strength of a pinch seam. However, pinch seams are not terribly strong to start with. With some effort, I am able to laterally tear it apart. Alright, try number 3. I again trim the seam frill to size, but this time I apply a post-operation known as ironing flat. Ironing flat is pretty self-explanatory. Heat is used to bias the seam frill so that it stays down to one side as opposed to sticking up. This is another comfort and appearance seam operation and does not strengthen the seam. It can be seen on the back of the griffin in the center of its back. The next post-process I show is known as welding flat. The operation is very similar to ironing flat, except the heat is kept on long enough such that the seam frill is welded down to the toy. This operation both improves the appearance of the seam and completely eliminates the sharp frill. However, it is mostly used as a reinforcement because it drastically improves the strength of a pinch seam. The operation is used sparingly as it requires the worker to have access to the interior of the toy. This seam operation can also be seen on the back of the griffin, closer to the neck. The next seam type is called an overlapping or a lapped seam. The edges of the two pieces of vinyl are overlapped, but this time, instead of aligning the edges, one piece is rotated 180 degrees such that only a narrow band from each piece overlaps. Just like welding a pinch seam flat, this operation requires access to the interior of the toy. It has similar properties to welding flat, but due to its direct approach, it is a stronger bond. This seam is commonly used to close either end of a beach ball and to weld together circumferential or equatorial seams about commercial pool toys. The circumference about the tail of the inflatable whirled green dragon is welded in lap. This seam type can be seen where the griffin's back meets its rump in the form of a lapped disc, similar to a beach ball. The final seam I will show is a double lapped seam. This seam is formed by butting up two pieces of vinyl to be welded and placing a lap band along the joint. This leaves the lap band on the interior of the toy and produces a near seamless appearance from the exterior of the weld. These joints are of equivalent strength to a single-lap seam, shown before, but are much harder to accurately line up and fabricate correctly. Double-lapped seams are used predominantly by jet creations, but a similar seam can be found on the back of the griffin nearest to the neck. Here, a pinch seam has been reinforced with the addition of an internal lap band. Thank you for tolerating my monotonous presentation, and please comment below on your thoughts. I am thinking that in my next video I might build a simple inflatable or a beach ball.